Hi there, and thank you for tuning in. Recently I just bought this Wacom pen and the plates to go along with it to help me improve my editing and post-processing in both Lightroom and Photoshop. And here are 5 reasons why I think I may be the dumbest Wacom user that has ever been. So let me start out by saying that I bought this in the Bluetooth enabled version, and only to come home and find out that I had no Bluetooth connection on my PC. So for the first few days I actually sat with a cable between my Wacom and the PC. It turned out the fix was quite easy though. You can get some of these dongles with a Wi-Fi connection, and you just plug them in, and then you have a Bluetooth connection. And you can also see down here on the screen that you suddenly get the logo and everything is hunky-dory. This is a PC I have built myself, so maybe it's standard in a standard PC, and I'm sure for Mac users that is not an issue. But for sure for me, I felt really stupid sitting with a cable between my Wacom and my PC the first few days, knowing that it had Bluetooth connection. The second reason was, and this was maybe not so much my fault, but still I felt quite silly. My mouse and my Wacom, my mouse is also wireless, I should mention, they did not agree on, I don't know, somehow the Wacom disturbed the PC, the mouse signal here. It was like my mouse got locked and it would only move upwards and downwards, and it was a little bit strange. The way I fixed that was actually initially to move, if I move the pin from the Wacom away from the plate, then my mouse worked again. But otherwise I simply changed the mouse, and I don't know if they have different radio frequency signal levels or whatever, but it solved the problem. And by the way, this is a much better mouse, so all good. But maybe if you have the same issue as me, yeah, you feel a little silly. But the very quick fix is to take the pin away from the Wacom tablet. So the third time around when I felt quite silly was with these buttons here on the pen. I don't know if you can see that, but there are 2 buttons here on the Wacom pen. And normally when I grab a pen, the only button I use is the one on top to bring out the tip head or not, right? So the fact that there are these buttons here, I mean, you have to be aware which way you're turning the pen, right? I know I'm down to really basic stuff, and after a few weeks of use, this is probably not a problem. But just when you get the pen in your hand for the first time, I accidentally hit these buttons and the pen started doing strange things that I wasn't prepared for it to do. So I actually ended up, I don't know if you can see that here, but on the screen here in the software you can set it up so these 2 pins are, buttons are disabled, and that took some of the stress level away. I think this is the only button I need actually, and therefore I have disabled these, and I still have this today, a few weeks after I bought it. I still think that the fact that I don't have to worry which way the pen is turning, for a beginner, I think that is a quite nice feature. So the 4th time around when I thought that something was wrong was the way this plate works. The logic is so that when you have your pen to the very left side of the tablet here, then your mouse, I don't know if you can see that, but then it's right to the left of the screen, and as you move it across the tablet here, then it goes to the right hand side of your screen. That's sort of the logic. That means that you have to move the pen quite a lot in order for it to move from the left to the right of your screen. If I do the same with my mouse, because I have very steep gearing, I would say, then I just have to move it a few centimeters. You can see it just like this much. Then the mouse moves from the left to the right, whereas here it's actually it's much more distance basically. So I couldn't really get used to that. And my fix for that was actually that in the software you can set it up so that the area that the pen uses on the tablet here is a lot smaller. So I sort of scaled it down so that I only use a fraction of the plate here. The benefit of that is, other than you can actually rest your hand on the plate, is that the gearing becomes bigger, meaning that the pen will move further for a smaller move on the plate here. The downside is, of course, you can't work as fine as precisely as you would with with using the full plate. But I think, especially as a beginner here, it outweighs the disadvantage that I actually don't have to move the pen very much in order for it to make a large movement on the cursor of the cursor on the screen. So I would say to you, if you're new like me, scale down the area. You can do that in the software. It's called mapping here. You can see here, it shows you here, and you can see I have reduced the area. It shows you here which part of the plate it is using. So if I even go, you can see like 2/3 or so down the side of the plate here, that will move the cursor all the way to the right on the screen. I found that extremely useful. And actually, even though I have the Wacom for a few weeks, I haven't changed that. A little tip for you, if you also feel that you have to move like a lot, it felt really unnatural to me, especially because I have really steep gearing here on the mouse movements. Okay, so the fifth and final reason why I think I may be one of the dumbest Wacom users that has ever been was that the first 2 weeks when I used this, the tablet, I was struggling a little bit with sort of the metaphor for using such a tablet. For 20 years I've been using my mouse, and I've gotten used to, you know, when I move the mouse, the cursor moves up here, right? And my eyes go naturally to the screen, okay? Then I have a pen, a traditional pen, yeah? The ink flows out of the tip of the pen, so where do my eyes go? They of course go to where the pen, or the tip of the pen is, so my eyes are on the paper. Right? So I grab a pen, I look down, I grab my mouse, I look up. Now I grab a different type of pen, and now I have to do a combination of the two, because when I started, I actually looked at the tablet here, right? But I should lift my eyes to look at where the cursor was. And that took me a little while to get used to, and I couldn't really figure out why wasn't it as intuitive to use the pen in the beginning as it was to use the mouse. And you may think that, you know, I'm completely stupid, and that's fair, but it actually took me a while to figure out, okay, it's because I have to lift my eyes compared to when I use a normal pen. Right, there you have it, 5 reasons why I think I may be the dumbest Wacom user that the universe has ever seen. If you've had similar issues with your first 2 weeks with your Wacom, I would love to hear what they were. Maybe you had no issues, maybe you had different issues. Please share. Otherwise, as always, happy shooting. Take care. Bye bye.